It's a nice sunny afternoon, or rather evening, here in Phillip Island. Welcome everyone to round 2 of the Formula Hololive International 2023-2024 season. And obviously, we have a lot of weather to look up to. And right now it's a bit overcast, not really sunny here in the region in Melbourne. But anyways, let's get on board to the track map and see what we are gonna be dealing with. As you can see here, 4.4 kilometers of racetrack, or around 2.7 miles of racetrack, 12 corners only in total, and we're looking at a lap count of 69 laps. Nice. And our target lap time of 1:17.527 in qualifying. And now it's basically Hakus Bales' home race, apparently, as she comes from the land down under, Australia, and apparently the Wi-Fi isn't good. I've heard stories where a lot of the Australians' Wi-Fi don't exceed 10 megabytes per second, but we'll leave that for another day. Anyways, it's the final Formula Hololive race of 2023. We're looking to log off the year with another good race here in this region, in this racetrack here in Australia. So anyways, let's take a look into the spotter's guide just to check on what is going on. First of all, we have Yuri Rafael de Oliveira representing Pavolia Rene, and then of course you have Kate Garcia and all that stuff. Now we do wanted to note that we are going to replace Lorenzo Ricci with Bernardo Santiago, who will make his Formula Hololive debut for Watson Emilia. So already this official spotters guide has been dated. But whatever the case is, let's go on board to everyone else. We have Kate Garcia for Zeta, Martinez for Mori Calliope, and we have Kiko Takaboshi for Oli. Dan Evans races in his home race for Ironio 15. We have Takeda Adachi for Ina, Ethan Brothers for Blume, Angela Sims will race for Anya Melfissa, Miyuki to race for Kobakana Eru, Koi Recommended to race for Takana Chikara, and Kyla Kowalski to be represented by the ever-experienced Monica Shalage. And then Aziz Mwaze will race for Ayuna Risu alongside Hinochi Tayu for Muya Hoshinova. And then we also have Kento Kai, who is in the Hakus Bales ride, was in the front row last race and Coda, but what the case is. Anyway, Sven Jensen races for Iris, and then Juan Castanto races for Oroconi, Zeke Wimberley races for Seraspana, and Sean Gulile finally returning after some kind of absence on Discord. Due to his phone being confiscated in school, he races for Gargo right on car number 99. So we're gonna have a pretty long wait before we are actually going to start qualifying, because we are just gonna try to get this in order. But before we do that, let's take a look into the International Championship order after Austin. Now we do want to note that only the full-time drivers can count towards the points. So because the Takeda Adachi leads everyone in the full-time standings, Takeda Adachi is now your championship leader at 200 points. And here you can see everyone else. Nick Martinez had a good race as well for the Deadbeats. He is currently placed second. Dan Evans is for Irony 15 in third, and then we have Takura Takaboshi, Castante running at the top 5. Sims and Mendez, Aziz Mwaze, Kinochitayu, and Sven Jensen running at the top 10. Sean Gulile, Hanaori Miyuki, and then we have Wimberley, Shilagi, and Kento Kai running out of the points. The 4 drivers who are gonna score points, at least the target is, the Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, Kit Garcia, Lorenzo Ricci, and Ethan Bertelsen for their respective representing Hololive members. So with that out of the way, we're actually gonna do a pretty long intermission before we actually start this qualifying session. I'm Mama Shahid Reza in the commentary booth, and alongside me is, of course, Zeke Wimberley. Now, before we get this qualifying session, which would start in the next 5 to 7 minutes, I wanted to tell you about the new Japanese season coming ahead. What are your expectations?
So far, it's been eventful, I guess. I wasn't here for the Austin race because I overslept like an idiot, and now I just don't do morning races because I'm a sleepy idiot. But overall, we have some strong contenders, and it's still young in the season, so we should be expecting a lot of heartbreak drama. You know, I'm making this sound like a stupid cliche movie, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for, honestly.
So that's in the case of the international season. Now we're talking about a lot of things that might come in the Japan season actually. Now in the Japan season, it's actually a bit different here because if you notice the activity on Twitter/X, there is an announcement for the new Hololive GT3 Japan Series format, where I'm gonna need to explain to everyone here a bit of detail. For more details, if you want to head into details, head into the Adak-RMS Twitter/X account to find out what is going on. But whatever the case is, how do we say this? The format goes like this. We have basically the drivers take up the qualifiers in the first 4 races of the season. Now, these qualifier races would have a lot of drivers in the field right now, which is basically, how do we say this? There's a lot of drivers in in this qualify field. There's a full field actually. And then from what we are seeing here, I'm just gonna try to get this thing done. Anyways, there will be the first 4 qualifying races, and there will be 4 races before we get into the Suyo and Zaku series. And now, based on what the format that we have put, if you can make it into the top 20 in the final qualifier standings, you will be transferred into the Suyo Cup. However, the Suyo series. Now, if you, however, are in the bottom 15, you will be transferred into the Zako series. Now, Z, you've had experiences with Plus before. I want to know what this means when it comes to shaking up the driver lineups for the 2 Suyo and Zako series.
Well, not necessarily experience, so to say, but I've played around a little with it, and basically, at least in my mind, you have the very, very, very doing very well that season, not drunk on champagne like Hofumi was back then, which thankfully they have recovered from the crazy 4-month hangover, and they're doing okay now. And then you kind of got more of the not having a good season, and we just kind of group them together, and it gets more interesting results and all of that. So.
Okay, so from what we're seeing here, this should promote what you call more activity throughout the season after you won your championship. This is to prevent, let's say, cases like championship hangovers, and this would also, how do we call it, punish those who have hangovers more than it did on the seasons past. And so we are about to actually get this qualifying session underway. Now with the and then we also have these new drivers coming in Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive on the Japan side. Just wanted to remind everyone of that. So anyways, we are about to get this qualifying session underway. Just gonna set up the final loading situations, and we should be ready. Oh yeah, just wanted to remind everyone that there are no full-time drivers this time. The full-time drivers are only meant to race part-time, as for their case it's a bit of a touch and go moment. And we just realized it's actually raining now in Phillip Island. While we're talking about the whole Hololive GT3 in 2024, just realized the rain have just dropped.
That's gonna suck.
Okay, so obviously I'm just gonna share my screen once again, and I think, yes, there's already a full screen projector. So let's see if there are any full drivers who have gone out. So yeah, you can see here the drivers just getting out here.
Barreling out is freaking. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna guess. I'm so sorry. I do not want to butcher your name, but barreling down the racetrack. Okay. Here we go. First bit of this brand new race, brand new opportunities, and all of that good stuff. And now, as you can see, and as we've mentioned, it is raining at the moment, so that could prove an issue later down the race, or even in the qualifying, as that can influence tires and all of that. And it's just gonna be an overall not as great racing environment for all of our talents today.
So right now we have Juan Castanto. Just want to remind you how to pronounce Juan Castanto from Argentina. He is obviously a crony. He's just getting the tires somewhat back up to speed here. As you can see here, first driver out on the track. He's just gonna try to get his tires warmed up. Now, if you want to know why these drivers are going a bit slow, is because Well, I don't know if there are any wet tires that they have selected, because right now they're only selecting the slick tires, and right now that kind of explains why they are slowing a bit more than they should. Now, obviously, we have Castanto coming into the turn 8 and coming into turn 9 and turn 10. Obviously, coming in with a very slow car, and obviously, like you mentioned, like, there's going to be quite a shake-up here coming into this qualifying session. But anyways, just wanted to check on a few other drivers. You know, Tayo, car number 69, the racetrack. The race will have 69 laps. It's a nice race nonetheless.
It is, although this environment is really trying to, well, I'm not going to say kill our drivers, but probably try to cut down their driving ability. We're really putting them to the test here at Phillip Island. With the slower cars, we will probably see a little bit of a shakeup in the lap times for the qualifying, because, as you know, it's slower, blah, blah, blah. And that also probably could prolong the race, so we might want to look out for that.
And right now we have Kento Kai coming in across the final 3 corners of this racetrack. We're actually going to go on board of Kento Kai, as we're going to start the lap right here. Right now we have turn 11, a long left-hander, before we meet with another long left-hander, which is turn 12, a bit flat out here. Brought in the confidence here despite the rain. So Kento Kai is going to try to barrel it down the main straight. Start a qualifying lap here in Phillip Island, coming into turn 1, which is Duan corner. Very nearly flat there on that turn 1, coming to turn 2, which is the southern loop. Really hanging around here. You can see here there's already a racing line forming. There's a dry line coming up despite the drizzling. And then coming into Stoner corner, named after Casey Stoner, legendary bike rider in Australia. And then into Miller corner, I think it's named after Jack Miller. Turn 4. And then coming to the slight right-hand kink in turn 5 before we meet Siberia, which is turn 6. Oh, hanging around. Turn 7. And then turn 8 comes up. Small kink on the left. And then not really much of a kink on the right. And then into Lukey Heights, turn 9. Long left-hander, 5th gear for now, until you have to really brake here into this hairpin corner, turn 10. 55.594 for Kento Kai, in case shaping up to have a good lap here in this number 85 Huckles Wales car. And coming to turn 11, turn 12, he really needs to put his foot flat on the floor. You can see here the rain really easing off now. So you can see some faster lap times. And you can see here, Kento Kai with 1:17.064, 3 tenths behind.
And as you can see there, I guess the rain isn't having as bad of an effect as we originally thought it was, although it could still prove some challenges. But you can see the competence of our drivers, truly exquisite racers of all the lands, blah blah. But overall, we are getting laps within high 116s to early 117s as a quote-unquote competent lap time, so that's really what you want to shoot for.
So right now we're looking into actually Sven Jensen with the fastest lap time yet, 1:16.582. Hope is really showing up here in Phillip Island here, and you can see here the local man Dan Evans also sets himself on the front row, second fastest time, only 2 tenths behind.
Yeah, truly, Jensen does have the qualifying in a chokehold at the moment, but that is subject to change eventually. Well, not eventually, but you get the idea. There is 9 minutes left in this qualifying, plenty of more laps to go, especially with laps being, you know, below 1:30. So you really do have a chance to switch up this leaderboard at the moment.
And yes, and actually you can see here the sun slowly setting here in Australia. Of course, the southern hemisphere is not like the northern hemisphere. They're basically polar opposites when it comes to winters and summers. Now, currently in the northern hemisphere, it's snowing around, let's say, especially in the northern parts of USA and much of Canada, and especially much of Europe and Russia. But in the south, which is basically in Australia, South America, and all that stuff, they're all enjoying a summery time, you know, with very long days and a bit of a short nights. And right here in Australia is no different. As you can see here, while the sun is setting, the issue of visibility isn't going to be too much for us to handle. Actually, we did host a race at this point in time, and basically the visibility is actually still pretty good. So no issues of lack of visibility from what we're seeing here so far, although the weather is still quite overcast.
Which shouldn't be a problem for our drivers, so we should have at least somewhat clean racing for the most part, which is a nice breath of relief.
So, just wanted to give you all a bit of some other news. If you have seen the news about Hololive's 5th festival, which will be hosted around mid-March on its usual date, Capture the Moment is the theme of the event. So, with that out of the way, in terms of the ARO, we are setting up, also going to be setting up a pretty huge weekend actually in this March, like the March of 2024. And as you can see here, in that March of 2024, we're going to have a lot of races. We're going to have at least 5 races on that week, kicking off with one of the Hololive GT3 races, which is actually the final qualifier race before we set the grid for the Suyo and Zako.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I think not for me because I gotta commentate for all those races, and although I do love it, it's gonna probably put a wrench in my schedule. So, but yeah, I'll do it anyway because I'm also kind and generous. And back to the racing at hand, we are noticing that nothing has really changed in the leaderboards for the most part, but we got 6 minutes 30. I think there's still a chance to do some damage here.
Anyways, Shalagi and Costanto makes up a few positions here. Shalagi has now placed her car in the front row, and Costanto's been looking very good for the cronies. I mean, sure, the weather has been quite wet right now. It's been quite drizzling, but it's only just a drizzle, so they're still looking to use some dry tires. So we'll move our attention elsewhere because they're gonna have a messed up time in this qualifying. They're gonna mess each other's time in qualifying. And just wanted to check around the situation here. Let's see, Dan Evans currently up in 3rd place, not really improving as much as he'd like. So we might not be seeing any lap time improvements for him. But looking into everyone else, let's see, Takaboshi down in 18th, and actually just wanted to check. Excuse me, just wanted to check around the constitution. We're gonna go into a slight, how do we say this? Okay, so,
intermission.
A bit of an intermission, yeah, a bit of an intermission, but just wanted to check if everything is okay because right now I can't really touch the leaderboard. So anyways, just want to, yeah, we can't switch the drivers, so we're gonna switch into a bit of an intermission while we take a short break. Okay, so we're back. So we have Dan Evans currently in 3rd place, doing very well for him right now in his home race. However, I can't say the same about Takeda Adachi, who is actually down in 18th.
Not going very well so far, although the qualifying gaps aren't too bad, only at about a 1.5 seconds, which I have definitely seen worse with qualifying up to like 3 seconds or so. So overall, it is all of the drivers are showing competence so far.
So right now, looking into the championship implications here, we're looking into guys like Dan Evans and Jake Martinez trying to taking advantage of Adachi's 4 time in qualifying right now. 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Right now, the championship order is going to shake up if Adachi isn't going to step up.
It is. With 1st place not being able to score as many points as it would really like to, it would be super easy for someone like even in the quote-unquote mid-section of the points to skyrocket up at least 3 or 4 places because this is basically going to cause a power vacuum within the leaderboard standings.
Anyways, we're looking into Jake Martinez trying to set a few laps for himself and for all the deadbeats watching. Jake Martinez currently in around turn 7 and 8, and coming into turn 9 here, this long left-hander. That turns 9 and 10 can be a good avenue for an overtake if you are very ballsy. Anyways, Jake Martinez is only, take a look at this, 600ths of a second behind Sven Jensen's time in the pole position, 1:16.582. Let's see how well Jake Martinez can really hang it around, hook it up on the final corner. 1:10, 11, and 12. Jake Martinez barrels down the main straight. It's going to be, oh, front row start.
Stupidly close. Alright, it is 0.156, which is definitely not that bad of a gap, being honest. And besides, you are getting a front row seat to this race, well, Martinez is, you know. But that is going to, that shot them up about 5 places. That is going to do wonders for them when the race eventually starts.
So anyways, we're looking at Dan Evans still in 4th place. We're going to see if there are any improvements here in the Victoria province here in Phillip Island. So anyways, we're looking into Evans currently coming around for the 2nd sector. It might be held up by Miyuki, who's currently in 9th place. And as you can see here, yep, he's being held up by Miyuki there. Miyuki is not doing any favors. And look at this, Angela Sims, 1:16.580, 2,000ths of a second faster than Sven Jensen. She's still full position for now.
Where even was she? Like, no offense, where was she though?
She was in 11th.
Like, I did not. 11th. That is a upset. Okay.
So anyways, it's all on Sven Jensen's hand to try to steal back what is supposed to be pole position here in Phillip Island here for the Phillip Island Grand Prix. Just wanted to check around for a bit. Kento Kai is currently down in 7th for what should be Hakkos Bales' home race. Sven Jensen only needs to be better than Angela Sims by at least 100th of a second for Jensen to really have a stick in his pole position right now. He's only good enough for the front row, and right now he's only good enough for the front row. 7/10 of a second behind right now.
It is not looking good with constant shifting. I believe Shalage just bumped Evans to 5th. It is just not. Adachi went all the way from not scoring any points to 11th place, which is it's not, it's okay, it's mediocre.
Well, at least it will help his championship aspirations, at least defend his championship aspirations, as he's currently in 11th place from 18th. And looking into the qualifying session, you cannot ask for a closer qualifying session than this. Angela Sims and Sven Jensen only being separated by basically a piece of paper at this rate. While we're looking at Sven Jensen here trying to complete his lap, he's going to try desperately to try to be faster than Sims, and right now he's still 7/10 behind, and I don't think he might pull a miracle in the final sector to try to beat Sims down to the line. A lot of drivers have already said, okay, that's enough of this qualifying session. And right now we're looking to Sven Jensen. Will he improve? I'm going to be very doubtful about his chances. 1:16, nope. 1:17.584, full second behind. Angela Sims, unless Evans and Castanto can put a wrench on her dreams, Angela Sims will be your pole sitter.
For the time, no, yeah, there are pole sitter. There's no way anyone's gonna improve really. For the most part, if we are wrapping up the qualifying session as of now, waiting for 3 cars to finish up their laps, which is, at least to me, agonizingly slow, so...
So we only have a few drivers left, which is basically Bernardo Santiago and Ethan Brotherson. Just wanted to check on Bernardo Santiago. Obviously making his debut in Formula Hololive. He's obviously trying his best to adjust to his number 88 car that has been inherited from Lorenzo Ricci here, and you can see here he's already made his move into the pit lane. Currently he will set to qualify 18th, and Ethan Brotherson coming into the pits. That should be it for this qualifying session. Angela Sims, your pole sitter for the Phillip Island Grand Prix.
What an upset. Sven Jensen really had the qualifying in a chokehold there. just for it to get stolen away by 2,000ths of a second. That's basically a shred of paper.
That's what as we've mentioned before. So, anyways, we're looking very good here in this race here. The Phillip Island Grand Prix is about to get underway, and right now the one currently sitting on pole position is none other than Anya Melfisa representative Angela Sims, sitting on pole position with an upset time of 1:16.580, only 0.2 of a second faster than Sven Jensen, currently alongside her on the front row. 1:16.582, only 0.2 behind. Anyways, behind them are Jake Martinez, who's been very consistent up to this point. He's currently in third place for Mori Kalliope alongside Monica Shalagi, fourth for Kaela Kowalskia. Fifth place is Dan Evans in his home race Irene 15 is from Indonesia, so we're gonna put that away. Wani Castanto starts in sixth place for Oro Crony. Corey Rico Mendes starts 7th for Takanashi Chiara alongside Kento Kai, racing in Hakos Bales' home race in 8th. We do mention in the pre-race, I don't know if we mentioned in the pre-race reviews that the Bay car can be very inconsistent at times, but sometimes inconsistencies can lead to good things, but it can also lead to bad things. So let's see how it works. Anyway, Zeke Wimbley starts 9th for Sarah Spana alongside Hanari Miyuki, who will start 10th in that Kobo Kaneo number 40. Takeda Adachi has made his defense aspirations very clear. He's going to start 11th alongside Sean Galile, who will start 12th. Chitayo starts 13th alongside Kate Garcia in 14th for Luna and Zeta respectively. Ethan Bertelsen starts 50 in the final points position. He'll start 15th in car number 21 for Mume. Alongside Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, who's currently a position outside the points. He's going to try to finish in the points for the first time this season here in Phillip Island. Aziz Mwazi starts 17th for Ayuda Risu alongside Bernardo Santiago in 18th. And Kiko Takaboshi rounds up the 19 cars on the field. Z, before we start the race, I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, we obviously had an upset in our qualifying, and also an upset as our race leader. Not race leader for this race, but overall champion. So far, the champion Takade Adachi has scored 11, which is points, but it's not going to be enough points. So unless they really gun for positions, this race they're going to be falling down the ladder real quick.
We talk about how some drivers have qualifying paces but not have race pace. We need to have both to be very good in the races. So anyways, we're gonna get this racing finally underway here. We have Angela Sims looking to start this race on pole position alongside Sven Jensen, currently in second place. The Phillip Island Grand Prix is about to get underway. Drivers revving their engines up to the max, and the race is going. As you can see here on the radar, there's a very good start there from Angela Sims, but not before. You can see if Sven Jensen has anything to say about it, but not before Jake Martinez has anything to say about it. Look at Jake Martinez around the outside on turn 1, and now into turn 2, and you can see here Jensen gets shuffled down into second place. A lot of jostling positions there for a lot of these drivers here. Adachi still stays in 11th here. A lot of positions being swapped over here. You can see here Galile versus Tinoshi Tayo there for what should be 12th place here. And as you can see here, Shilage and Castanto doing very well there. Mendes and Castanto are swapping places between each other. And now you can see here, Angela Sims currently leads this race. Jake Martinez with a gold launch off the start in second. Jensen third, Shilage fourth, Mendes fifth, Evans sixth, Castanto seventh. Miyuki and Kai are trading blows right now for 8th and 9th. And Adachi is now inside the top 10.
Well, obviously we have had a little bit of a crazy start. Thankfully, no crashing, relatively clean racing. Silver Spoons are fighting right now, Mazif and Takaboshi looking at the gas right now. Yeah, they're still fighting. Garcia and Santiago, I believe, was that contact right there? I'm pretty sure. But either way, it is a relatively crazy start per usual.
A relatively crazy start is expected in these races. So anyways, we're looking into lap 2 of this race starting right now here. Lap 2 of 69 is still Angela Sims currently in control. And now you can see here Miyuki and Castanto trading blows between each other. Hanari Miyuki has the inside light coming into turn 1. And also look at Jensen and Shilage trading blows. Jensen is currently falling off there. There's not much hope right now currently at the start of this race. And with Shilage running out the outside here. Oh, they're getting very close there on the radar here on the outside. Oh, you can see, and Sven Jensen tries to get her back. And as you can see here, Jensen. Oh, we're trying to hang it around, but you can see here, Shilage manages to defend the position well.
It is not looking good for Jensen at the moment, really not having the race pace to match up with their qualifying. Fell down 2 positions right now, and Mendez is actively hounding him down as we speak. So it is overall looking very chaotic in the front line.
And right now we are looking at Jake Martinez losing touch to Angela Sims. He's been very good here on front here. As you can see here, the story of the driver is representing Anya Melfissa, from the likes of Lens Oryx to the likes of Angela Sims. They've been pretty good from time to time. As you can see here, Moise versus Garcia. Garcia gets shuffled off. And let's also talk about Bernardo Santiago and Yuri Rafael de Oliveira making very good starts there. They're now in 15th and 14th respectively.
Just barely scoring inside the points, but points are points nonetheless, and you could use all of them to get, even if you don't win the championship, you get to brag to the people below you that you got more points than them, so it's great.
But anyways, we're looking into Corey Rico Mendes already making a move against Sven Jensen now. Sven Jensen's race has now gone from bad to worse here, and now he's looking here at the back. He's always under pressure from Dan Evans there. Sven Jensen's race is quickly falling apart as Zeke Wimberly trades Adachi's position. Wimberly is now inside the top 10.
Crazy things with Jensen right now, and it's only getting worse. I don't know if it's the rain or just overall. I'm pretty sure it's the rain, and that's probably the only reason why. And a storm is about to hit him from behind as Yuki is actively trying to trail them down and snag that number 6 spot for themselves.
And you can see Miyuki, she's trying to hound down on you can see Jensen obviously struggling a lot in this race here so far. We're only on starting lap 4, and after 3 laps complete, he's already lost a good amount of positions, and now it's gonna happen again. Hanori Miyuki diving down the inside. Sven Jensen is absolutely having a nightmare start to the race here, as not even 4 laps are having complete, and he's now lost like 5 spots already.
It is not looking good for Jensen at all, but thankfully they do seem to have a bit of a grace period at the moment, as I believe Keto Kai is about a 7/10 of a second away, so they should be able to breathe for now.
Okay, just wanted to remind you what happened in Circuit of the Americas. There's been a lot of racing action here in Circuit of the Americas. We've seen crashes, we've seen rocket ships, we've seen a lot of frantic action from the front end to the field to the back, and we've seen Takeda Adachi winning amongst the full-time drivers. Well, of course, he's not the overall winner. That went to Jake Goodwin in the number 25 4-1 car. But right now, currently in 11th place. Let's see how he can go on making it into the top 10.
Well, it isn't too bad right now, only 1 spot below. So they just really need to wait for the right moment to strike. The race is still young. We still have like 64 laps to go. There is no rush at the moment to snag up positions. And especially with the rain, you definitely want to take your time.
So looking into Jake Martinez, who's currently just a second a bit, actually now dropped down to 8.5 seconds there. You can see the gap to the leader just ebbing and flowing just ever so slightly. And also we do mention that Corey Rico Mendes have the fastest lap of the race, around 1:16.5 from what we're seeing. But anyways, Corey Rico Mendes is on a hot streak. As you've seen him in the invitational races here, from the Long Beach race to Sepang, he has been one to really show up in for Takanashi Kara. He's been one of the most real KFP employees we've ever seen so far, and now we are seeing the first pit lane activity, Corey Rico Mendes.
This is a bit too early for my personal liking, but if they can pull it off, they can pull it off, and I'm not going to complain about it.
Bernardo Santiago also coming into the pits, as well as the race leader, Angela Sims. And just wanted to check in, and I would regret to inform you that I believe whoever is pitting right now, they're pitting very early, like too early. right now, with the exception of maybe Kate Garcia. Kate Garcia is gonna go for an extreme overcut strategy, so she'll pit very, very late into this race. But for now, we're looking into 5 drivers already making mistakes on the pit lane. We have Angela Sims already losing good amount of positions, because looking into this one, Corey Rico is ahead, Wimberly is ahead, Santiago is ahead, Angela Sims is now down.
That is really, really bad. It is way too early. They're probably gonna have to stop for fuel again, unless they've got like some sort of like crazy modification on their car, in which case we're probably gonna have to look into that.
Anyways, we're not looking to have these cars be crazily modified in terms of fuel. But anyways, looking into Sims against Santiago here. Santiago obviously just wants to get his feet wet in representing Watson Amelia. Obviously, he's one of the teammates out there on the racetrack here. Obviously replacing Lorenzo Ricci in that number 88 Watson Amelia car, as he's now fully set to drive the Hosha Marine number 6 full-time in the Japan side of things in both Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive. But meanwhile, let's take a look into Kento Kai. He's been very good so far, and obviously only gaining a single position from Angela Sims' pit stop. Let's see what he can do against Sven Jensen.
Well, seeing as they have decreased the gap from about 9/10 of a second to now late 2/10, it is not looking good for Jensen, although they did gain a little bit of positions from lost positions from the pit lanes, the early pitting and everything, and for the most part it's looking okay for Jensen. They could definitely be doing better right now though.
Oh, you can see here Sims versus Santiago here. They're both running down the inside here on that very long left-hander here. I think that was turn 11, and now coming into turn 12. Angela Sims has now wrong section of the track. I think it's actually turns 7 and 8, and now coming to turn 9. You can see here Sims dispatching Bernardo Santiago with ease. That just shows you how confident she is on that racetrack here. And now we're seeing more drivers coming into the pits. This time it's Dan Evans.
Very, very early pitting still. I wouldn't pit till at least like 15 flat maybe. But for the most part, if they can pull it off again, kudos to them. But it's gonna be very, very close. They're gonna have to be very frugal.
Oh yeah, just wanted to check on Dan Evans. He's basically missed the mark on the pit stops. He will make a second pit stop due to him miscalculating his basically his pit stops here. 4 minutes of another fast lap of the race, 1:16.980 for the Filipino. And as you can see here, Sean Galile on his time driving for Gauger, he's doing pretty okay. He's currently in 9th place. And looking into Adachi right now, Adachi is currently around in 7th place now. Very good place for him to really just hang on to the title fight.
Yeah, and again, most of that is from people ahead like Evans and Sims pitting, which they'll probably hopefully make it back a-okay. But for now, they should be enjoying and exploiting this the newfound positions as fast and as effective as possible.
Sven Jensen, Yuri Rafael de Oliveira about to be called into the pit and mount before. You can see here Kento Kai nearly making contact with Sven Jensen there. You can see Sven Jensen really trying to defend his position in turns 1 and 2. Try to hang it around on the inside, outside of turn 1. That switches into the inside, coming into turn 2. And now into turn 3. They're both alongside each other. Now you can see Kento Kai really trying his luck around the outside before switches into the inside around turn 4. Ooh, and as you can see here, hopping onto the curbs there, Kento Kai makes the move stick there, Kento Kai. Kento Kai is now in 3rd place, although obviously he'll need to pit.
Just give up hope at this point for the Iris car, because they are really, really not doing the greatest job at defending at the moment. But hopefully they will make up for it by attacking and reclaiming their lost position.
Just looking into the current situations here, Sven Jensen trying to attack Kento Kai, who is currently in 3rd place here, but not before Sven Jensen comes into the pit, as we've mentioned previously. Just wanted to check the race monitor. This time it's going to be Jake Martinez, Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, Sven Jensen, and Kento Kai coming into the pits, as well as Hanori Miyuki. And you can see here Miyuki, she's also misjudged the field. Everyone seems to be misjudging their field, and the only one that hasn't misjudged their field seems to be Juanica Stanto. Look at Juanica Stanto and Kate Garcia, they're still good for the end. And I don't know if Juanica Stanto have already pitted as well.
That is a little absurd. That is confusing to me, but we're looking at a very interesting race full of blunders, to say the least.
Meanwhile, Evans have cleared Hanori Miyuki. Sven Jensen is about to be overtaken by Adachi down the inside. Adachi with a very good move down the inside at turn 2. Adachi really trying to hang it around, but let's see if Adachi can really hang it around. And Sven Jensen tries to make a move around the outside to defend his position. Sven Jensen is too far behind to really think of a move against Adachi, but Adachi has actually been shuffled off around the outside. Jensen might have a lifeline. Around the outside he goes, and you can see here the believe the Norwegian driver coming in to attack the Japanese driver. You can see here Jensen against Adachi, Iris versus Ina, 86 versus 17. And as you can see here, Sven Jensen might have some fight on this car, and yes, he does.
But I don't think it's over yet. Takeda Adachi does. Oh no.
Looking into Inochitayo, Ethan Broderson, and Artis Moisev coming into the pits, as well as Corey Rico Mendez. We're gonna see if they basically messed up their fuel, and the answer is going to be, interestingly, yes. Looks like everyone's gonna pit very early at this rate, so whatever mistake they're doing, they're gonna cancel each other out.
Well, in that case, the people that pitted the earliest are probably going to get the most out of that, because they're just gonna make up the lost time. So I guess Sins technically didn't blunder, and this was all just like the craziest psyop ever.
Well, right now we are looking into even more battles here between Hanori Miyuki and what should be Kento Kai, the driver representing the hometown VTuber right now, against Hanori Miyuki, who is representing the brat that is Gogo Kanaeru. As you can see here, Kento Kai around the inside line at turn 10, nearly making contact, these two, but Kento Kai knows his car well and has decided that it's not worth trying to attack. And right now, Kai versus Miyuki is in Miyuki's favor for now.
For now at least. And is anyone pitting this lap, or at least next lap, whatever, for fuel? It's just a very interesting pit game today.
A very interesting game indeed, and as you can see here, in the top 3 are basically relatively somewhat unchanged, except Jake Martinez, who stayed up there in 2nd place. Now the only 2 drivers who are not looking to pit, at least for the foreseeable future, and by foreseeable future I mean the next 20 laps or 30, would be Kate Garcia and Juanica Stanto. So obviously these drivers are going to hang it around for the race lead for quite some time before they decide that, yep, it's time for us to pit.
At least assuming nothing unfortunate happens, or lap traffic doesn't become an issue, which it very well could be. This is a relatively short track, to say the least. Only about a minute and 20 for like a very, very slow lap.
So anyways, Corey Mendez has dispatched Inochitayo for what should be 18th place. And looking into the current rest of the affairs, so you can see here Jake Martinez really trying to attack here on the race leader, Juanica Stanto. Jake Martinez wants to have a say on the race lead. Then it was the fast on the race, but that doesn't matter right now. Jake Martinez have cleared Juanica Stanto. It's Dev currently in front.
It seems too that Costanzo is starting to lose their race pace a little bit, at least in terms of Martinez, as it's about, last I checked, around 2-second difference. So Martinez should really make use of this and really start making some clean air.
So anyways, looking into the current order here, Sven Jensen currently down in 9th place, and with most of the pit stops now settled, let's take a look into the progress charts here to see who are the biggest gainers and losers here. Sven Jensen and Santiago, obviously one of the bigger losers out there, as well as Corey Mendes. But obviously, it's still very early in this race, and Corey Mendes still has the fastest lap of this race, 1:16.889, currently the fastest driver outright, but currently he doesn't have the position to say about it. And the biggest gainers around here, from what we're seeing here, is Kate Garcia currently in 8th place. And as you can see here, Jensen makes a move against Garcia to change the arithmetic. And now Garcia, while all still being the biggest gainer, have now gained only 5 places from the start.
It's nothing to really scoff at though. 5 places is quite the achievement, especially seeing the biggest loser losing like 7. And speaking of the biggest loser, which isn't really the biggest loser, we have Casato and Shalage battling out side to side, 2nd and 3rd place. We are deciding who gets silver medal at this point, which it is really neck and neck at this point, and it doesn't seem anyone really has an edge, but it seems Shalage really, I don't know what Costanto did there, to be honest.
Well, he got shuffled off outside. There was not much grip there, and obviously from what we're seeing here, it means that Shalage has the better grip on the inside. There's not much grip on the outside. Shalage made use of the grip on the inside line at turn 4 there, and that allowed Shalage to get herself into 2nd place here. As visibility starts to maybe become an issue, we're gonna need to pay attention on the current situations, on the time and the weather. Currently, the drivers are reporting that they can still see the racetrack somewhat, and of course we can still see the track without any assistance of lights. So we're still pretty good for now.
And in terms of this track, it seems kind of cursed, especially with the pit lane activity and the people high up that scoreboard over on that left side really just starting to fall occasionally. And speaking of falling positions, Evans is falling a few because they're pitting, I think again, I believe this is their 2nd, but they just left.
Anyways, Kate Garcia and Juani Costanto are looking to pit quite late into this race. Their strategy, the strategies for these two drivers are obviously different. Obviously, these two are going to focus on pitting later in this race to basically have an advantage in terms of, as far as we know, basically track position, right? Because right now, looking into Costanto, he may not gain as much positions, but at least he might have an advantage come into the end of this race when it comes to tie life.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, especially with the fuel bit. Both of the strategies seem to be cutting each other out. And speaking of cutting, we have 2 battles happening simultaneously in the back.
And right now, it's currently in Santiago's favor here against Zeke Wimberley, and now Zeke Wimberley against Corey Mendes. Corey Mendes makes the move to get himself into 16th place, 1 position away from the points there. Corey Mendes, let's see what he can do. And speaking of what they can do, look at Yuri Rafael de Oliveira currently up there in 11th place, doing very well there to try to be on his way to score his first points in Formula Hololive International.
Definitely probably one of our biggest gainers. They were originally in around 16th place, I believe, moved up 5 positions, and they're in the points doing their Oshi proud.
Well, obviously, if we look at the background of Yuri Rafael, he's been very much a committed Maratiat member in and out. But let's see this being put to the test. And right now, he's currently under pressure from Ito Bertelsen at number 21, Anashi Mumekar currently also up front. In front of them are Sean Goliath here. Now you can see here, there could be a 3-wide move. And right now, we could be seeing a double move here still. Sean Goliath obviously acting as a roadblock for these 2 drivers, Ethan Bertelsen and Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. And you can see here, nothing separating between them. De Oliveira might just have a slight edge coming into turn 6 and 7 and 8. And around the left-hander of turn 9, it's still De Oliveira ahead. But let's see if Bertelsen have anything to say about it.
It's unclear at the moment, although De Oliveira does seem very aggressive today. And speaking of aggressive, Bertelsen does seem to be wanting some of that position too.
You can see here Goliath actually holding up De Oliveira back, and that allowed Bertelsen to basically steal one back.
It is unbelievable right now, and there are still many people pitting. Adachi and Galal going into the pits. Sid Santiago, Wimberly, Takaboshi, and Mendez went back into the pits while that was happening. And the Oliveira, Bertelsen, that's still going on and on and on.
The battle that have went on for an entire lap has delivered to everyone watching. You've seen Bertelsen and Oliveira literally giving nothing for them. There's literally nothing between them. It's all a case of who gets the better opportunity, and in terms of opportunities, Bertelsen had a very good opportunity because he was on the outside line when De Oliveira got held up slightly by Sean Galal. When Sean Galal entered the pit, then you see Bertelsen taking up the opportunity, and he made this move around the outside to really stake a claim for a position against De Oliveira. Definitely one of the moves of the racing season so far.
This racing season is very short, so I wouldn't call that very much of an accomplishment, but, yay, I guess.
And as you can see here now, Bertelsen's not done yet. He's gonna try to dispatch Kate Garcia. Ethan Bertelsen's pace in the number 21 Hanashi Momei car is not something anyone should overlook. As the member with no name, as now gets up into the top 8, Ethan Bertelsen is showing that he's got pace and potential.
It's the pit lane. It still isn't really good. Can we see like how many times people have pitted, like, please?
Okay, so we're gonna check into the pit stop counters here. We're seeing some drivers already making 3 stops, which is pretty interesting to see because we're looking into.
It's crazy.
Because right now we're looking into Corrigo, Mendes, Keiko Takaboshi, Zeke Wimberly, Santiago, and Sims already making 3 pit stops here. And it looks to me that these drivers at the back are already set until the end of this race. So obviously there's a huge amount of a pit stop kerfuffles, and I don't think we're done yet. Basically, the gaps, the timing power that we've had at the moment, and this leaderboard that we have right now is still provisional because we just don't know who's gonna pit again.
Everyone has pitted once, and Miyuki just hit the pits again. You know who else did? Jensen. So there is even more pit blunders going on as of current. So it's gonna be great to watch this. I love how Sims had everything handed to them on a silver platter, and they still refuse to eat it. It is so crazy. They are in 15th place right now. First to 15th.
It's just racing for you. Anything can happen, and even the most unpredictable. And right now, looking into Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, and as you can see here, I think I'm not sure what tires Kate Garcia it was on. I think it's still pretty much the older tires. And as you can see here, the track feels and still looks relatively dry, even though there's only a bit of a drizzle here from what we're seeing on screen. That just shows you that while the rain does hamper the grip onto the racetrack right now, it's not enough for the to switch to wet tires. And right now, Kate Garcia currently up in 8th place, being one of the only few drivers who have pitted less than, from what we're seeing, actually not even pitting once, Garcia and Castanto.
We're not pitting like at all. I thought everyone had at least one pit stop, but I guess I was wrong again. Constanto and Garcia are trying to go for a no real pitting strategy. And speaking of the pits, the pit lane legends, Mendes and Takaboshi, did have a little bit of a fight that Mendes managed to easily swipe away. I'm just going to start calling 15th to 19th the pit lane legends.
We just don't know, and whatever floats your boat, Z. Anyways, looking into the current situations here, Monica Shilage trying to catch up to Hanare Miyuki, her fellow Gen 3 teammate, well, ID Gen 3 teammate. As you can see here, Shilage trying to really find an opportunity here. Really got close there, really thought of a move there, Shilage, but the answer is going to be no so far for the driver representing Kyla Kowalskia. And for the hometown, for the driver representing the hometown Roger YouTuber Kento Kai, he's doing very well now. He's currently up into 3rd place. And
Martinez just went into the pits. I can't even tell what's a blunder anymore. But I'm looking into the gaps, and I'm seeing stuff like 11 seconds, 15 seconds, 12 seconds. It is absurd, and it is almost a guarantee lap traffic will show up on this in this race.
And lap traffic it is indeed. As you can see here, Costanto easily dispatches the lap car or Bernardo Santiago. Obviously, Castanto now inherits the race lead. Obviously, going for that very, very long pit stop. And as you can see here on his tires, just wanted to take a look a bit into his tires. Just wanted to show you how, if it's a bit worn, because I can't really tell from this angle and with this amount of lighting, but you can see here some graining on that rear tires, especially on that rear left. So obviously basically the left and obviously both sides of the tires are absolutely being beaten and being battered right now because of the high-speed demands of this circuit. And right now we're looking into more pit stop activities with Assetto coming in.
The pit lanes must be having a field day right now. They must be getting paid so much after this race. But more importantly, however, the gaps are so big that pitting barely has a penalty if you have a place greater than like the top 10. It is, oh my god.
It's unpredictable as ever, Formula Hololive and all basically racing in general. It is. And right now looking into Dan Evans trying to attack Kento Kai. An Australian driver trying to attack a driver representing an Australian VTuber right now. It's Kento Kai and Dan Evans. It's a local battle for the ages. Let's see how this goes.
So far it's going absolutely nowhere as Evans is staying completely reserved, not wanting to budge, at least for now. So for now, that glorious 5th place spot, honor roll, basically eluding them, at least for now.
So anyways, looking into Evans there, as you mentioned, has gone nowhere between the two. Evans versus Kento Kai, not really up into the building so far, but you can see here Evans is somewhat faster than Kento Kai on those previous few moments here. Now you can see here Dan Evans trying to really pile on the pressure on this Kento Kai, obviously. With a Japanese racing driver, Japanese racing license, all that stuff. But let's put that out of the way as Dan Evans currently trying to find a way through for that top 5 positions. Kento Kai holding up Dan Evans very, very well there. And now you can see let's see the other battles here. Sven Jensen started on the front row, now down in 9th place. And speaking of the race field monitor, Sven Jensen I believe is good for the entire race. So he might be ruining of a missed opportunity after this qualifying, because right now his race pace has not been very good, especially at the start.
Oh my god, bro, it is a nightmare to watch this in general. Is a nightmare. And when Jensen overtakes Bertelsen, if that ever even happens, they have a 12-second gap to inherit and then blitz through. It's gonna be, oh my god.
So anyways, we just wanted to remind everyone, it's not really over yet because the remaining drivers who have yet to pit right now for what we're seeing are Wani Castanto and Kate Garcia, who is currently in 1st and 7th respectively. And for all the viewers currently watching this stream right now, welcome everyone. Good evening if you're in Australia. Hopefully everyone's able to tune into this Formula Hololive race here in Phillip Island. This is the Phillip Island Grand Prix still underway. Just want to let everyone know that you can feel free to chat whatever is happening in this race, and really only whatever is happening in this race. We really don't really want to talk about off-topic related stuff. But anyways, plug over. Let's look back into the current situation. Look at Hanari Miyuki there, currently up in 3rd place.
Yeah, it's the drivers that are doing well are doing very, very well, and then there are the drivers that are not doing very, very well at the moment. But that's besides the point. We are celebrating Miyuki right now, and Miyuki is starting to, I think, lose pace on Martinez right now. But I guess it's a pretty evenly matched skill gap right now.
Just taking a look into the gaps right now, gaps from the leader, and right now we have seen some confirmation here. We have at least 6 drivers who are currently a lap down. First driver a lap down is Aziz Mwazib, currently down in 14th place. Bernardo Santiago has the final points position, currently in 15th. And you can see, as you mentioned there, these drivers basically pitted around 3 times, and as you mentioned there, they have a title for themselves as they're currently down a lap. and probably have not much of a shot at winning this race unless something crazy happens.
Dude, like, there's gonna be, like, the Australian Armed Forces are gonna invade the track, and then it's gonna cause a massive, traffic jam, and then there's gonna be an accident, and then, I'm gonna pick someone at random. Takaboshi is going to win the race, 100%.
Well, if that hypothetical event happens, of course, you can see here on that speed trap here, 300 kilometers an hour here, which should be around 190 miles per hour. And now this time, we're looking into Hanari. Miyuki's is on board here, trying to get close into Jake Martinez. As you mentioned there, Miyuki is at least keeping tabs with Jake Martinez against your the run of play of your expectations there. Now Miyuki trying to really find a way past this Singaporean driver of Jake Martinez, obviously. And then we also have Monica Shalage down in 4th place, also looking to be here in the hunt as well.
But more oh shoot. Alright. More importantly though, Miyuki is starting to lose pace at least a little bit right now. It keeps on elevating from around 4/10 of a second to about 6/10 of a second, and that gives Shalage all the time in the world to catch up at the moment. So it's Miyuki might want to strike at least eventually.
Well, eventually, of course, but Miyuki really needs the avenue that she needs in order for her to fully attack Martinez. And obviously, currently, Juan Castanto currently has this race under control for Oro Crony. Now, if you want to talk about predecessors, we've seen drivers like Carolina Vieira da Silva, who was in the Oro Crony car, obviously the best driver to represent Oro Crony up to this point right now. But Juan Castanto is going to try to change that. If he can hang on to this race lead and ace his overcut strategy very, very well, Castanto will have a good shot of being in the record as one of the better Oro Crony drivers out there in history. But of course, he still needs to beat a few records though.
With Constanzo, it isn't necessarily hard for him, because for the most part, if I'm doing my math right, which I'm probably not, they'll end up around 8th place. That's only 8 places they need to blitz through with fresher tires. The only thing they really need to do is warm them up. So overall, Constanzo is in a very, very comfortable position.
And a very good position to at least stay in the top of the table for now. As you can see here, Jake Martinez obviously have already pitted. And actually, if you notice the timing tower, Martinez is actually losing touch to Juan Castanto. Juan Castanto have older tires, while Martinez have fresher tires, but he isn't able to catch up to Juan Castanto. As you can see, he's lost a lot of time. 3/10 of a second there he's lost. And now you can see here, this is the reason why Keiko Takaboshi is gonna really throw spanner in the works for Jake Martinez, but not before Martinez had made the pass back. Oh, and Hanari Miyuki went onto the grass there, knowing that the grass is wet. How did she manage to get that car still under control?
Let's just be thankful it didn't turn out much worse, and they could have been a DNF. But it is not looking good for both the stream and Miyuki at the moment, because first of all, Shalage is starting to gain on them a lot, and the stream just froze for a second.
So right now we're just taking a look into the current state of affairs right now. Martinez currently 19 seconds back, and now looking to regain the lost time from that lap car. Now you can see here Keiko Takaboshi. Oh, looking at Takaboshi, she's really putting a lot of pressure on Hanari Miyuki there, as Takaboshi isn't keen on letting Miyuki and Shalage through. And as you can see here, Miyuki struggling to get the pass on, but right now Miyuki with the long straight here. She might take a move down the inside, outside, inside she goes. And as you can see here, she's gonna stream pass through, and that's gonna cause a bit of problems for Shalage, or maybe cause some fortunes for Shalage if neither of these drivers are careful. And now you can see here, just trying to hang around there, and Miyuki might have the lifeline still.
It is very, very scary for all Miyuki and Martinez though at the moment, as Martinez just lost their lifeline, I believe, and Miyuki only has one, so it's something to definitely look out for.
Here's another beehive that we want to take a look into. We have Puerto Rico Mendes against the Wimberley for positions for 16th place. Just behind, just ahead of them, just ahead of them, Bernardo Santiago. And now you can see here, Puerto Rico Mendes trying to defend his position for all he can, while also trying to find a way past Bernardo Santiago. And right behind him, actually, Juan Castanto. So basically, there might be some added layers into this right now. Sorry, wrong driver. It's actually Jake Martinez, because ahead of Jake Martinez is actually basically the lap cars. So there's going to be something that we need to take a look into.
It's interesting, definitely interesting. So far, Constanto still hasn't pitted. I believe they're not pitting for another like 10 laps or so, and then Garcia still hasn't pitted. And with Garcia, it's going to be very interesting to see where that leads, as they're not in as comfortable as position as Constanto is. So it definitely Garcia is the car to look at.
Lap 34, around lap 35 will be the official halfway stage of this race here. Now you can see here Yuri Rafael de Oliveira trying to pile on the pressure on Takeda Adachi. They're currently down in 10th place. Well, let's see if De Oliveira might have something to say about it, but unfortunately he's too far back. And looking into Jake Martinez there, he's still not gaining on the lap time, gaining against Castanto, despite having a lot of clean air in front.
How old is Jake Martinez's tires at the moment? It could be a tire issue.
Here's your answer.
Only 9 laps, and Miyuki's on 12 laps right now. So Martinez has the fresher tires too. That's actually really interesting.
You might want to ask why is that the case. It's because of tire warm-up. A tire works best when they're warm and sticky. And right now with the rain right now, that could affect the warm-up just a bit. And also Juan Castanto may have his car set up so that the car is very much warmed up, especially in these damp conditions. And because right now Castanto's setup is made to suit damp conditions. As you can see here, Castanto really still being able to have very good pace despite having the worst tires, is because he can really warm up tires even better than Jake Martinez. That's at least my hypothesis.
Well, I was talking more the fact that Martinez was kind of losing ground to Miyuki, despite the much older, well, not much older, but like
Pressure.
The pressure, sorry. I'm a little sleepy today.
It happens, but don't worry. Well, let's take a look back into the rest of the drivers in the field. Dan Evans currently trying to mount the pressure on Kento Kai. It's still a stalemate between two Australian-related drivers. We have an Australian driver, of course, racing for IRNEO 15 against the Japanese driver racing for an Australian VTuber. And now you can see here, Dan Evans is going to try his luck, but not before Kento Kai covers it up. And you can see here, this time, Dan Evans gets very, very close there. And gets very wide, nearly goes onto the grass. There, now you can see here the amount of attack that Dan Evans is currently having right now.
The racing is barely staying clean at the moment, as we have almost had a couple of DNFs already. I don't know how Miyuki isn't even a DNF yet after she spilled onto the grass, right?
Yeah, she spilled onto the grass, but she has a very good car control on that race car there, and that allowed Miyuki to basically keep her car under control. But anyways, let's basically talk a bit more Hololive here with Juan Castantos as Oshi Orokroni. Now, obviously, being the warden of time, she basically has to say on how time flows and how time progresses and all that stuff. Being a member of council and later promise, she has been someone that is quite wide and thick, if you want to call him that, and that is probably Juan Castantos' preference, as he would like to have his strategy be very wide and thick when it comes to warming up his tires. And right now Castanto currently having this race under control, even against Jake Martinez, who should have the fresher tires and who should be faster, but due to tire warmer issues, Costanto is the one that is ahead and is actually maintaining the gap of 19 seconds.
That was a very weird way to explain it, but I guess I'll take it. But I am noticing that Martinez is starting to gain a little bit of time right now in the very high 18-second mark. So Constanto is definitely losing a little bit of touch at the moment, but they're definitely still doing all right.
You can see here Jensen and Bertelsen trading blows between each other. As you can see here, Jensen just scoots past Bertelsen. They were battling between each other earlier in this lap here. And now Sven Jensen's now trying to get himself back into the top 5 after the blunder that he had on the race start. And that's as depressing of a race start that we have seen. Meanwhile, Goliath and Oliveira also trade blows between each other. This time it's in Goliath's favor, but let's see where this attack leads to as Oliveira tries to find a way past Goliath. Adachi is now currently in 10th place. Might not be able to maintain the championship lead, but will still be inside the top 5, and maybe because Jake Martinez is currently in 2nd place.
It's for Martinez, it's not looking good. Miyuki is about 0.6 of a second away, but that has been for several laps. So I guess as long as Martinez keeps up the good work, it should be relatively okay. And speaking of good work, Jensen did manage to pass Garcia after Garcia has been standing around in 7th for forever, basically.
All hope's not lost yet for Sven Jensen. It was a lot of despair at the start of the race, but as long as there's still hope, Jensen will still go for it. And because hope is still there, and right now Jensen is trying to get himself back into the hunt at least for the top 5, because right now he has 22 seconds to gain against Dan Evans and Kento Kai and Monica Slugget. And remember, we still have a few drivers who have yet to pit, especially for Kei Garcia. And now you can see Hanori Miyuki and Jake Martinez battling it out between each other.
Apparently I'm a liar, but the Martinez and Miyuki are finally duking it out, while also dealing with a little bit of lap traffic as well, meaning that it's stupidly hard to launch an assault right now. And but Miyuki did manage to do it, and I believe also passed that lap car as well, so kudos to Miyuki.
Well, it's not over for Miyuki, because remember, there's still Bernardo Santiago in front of her, and right now Jake Martinez needs to focus on clearing the lap car of Hinochi Tayo, who's currently not having the best of races for her, as she's currently in 17th place. Jake Martinez tries to pile on the pressure, but will he make a move down the inside against his fellow ASEAN driver here, representing a Hololive Indonesia member? And now you can see here Martinez trying to get a good launch off of that final 2 corners here. Let's see what it leads to for Martinez. Okay, good for that final corner. And now you can see here Martinez gets very close there, but I'm not sure if it's enough. I don't think it's going to be enough here. I think it might just be enough for a surprise move, but it's too far.
Speaking of surprise moves, first of all, Goliath and Adachi are fighting, I think, for like the 3rd time, right? And Goliath won that one. But more importantly, however, Shirage is starting to creep up on Martinez. So Martinez is kind of on borrowed time at the moment. Really hoping Shirage doesn't make a move, which could be any time now.
So right now we have Jake Martinez really losing touch to Hanori Miyuki there. The visibility is really starting to drop, but it's not really much of an issue here for the remaining drivers here. Well, not exactly the remaining drivers here, for all the 19 drivers still. Because right now, if you want to take a look here, the weather is actually slightly looking up. Because sure, it's still drizzling a bit, but if you look at the cloud up there, basically it's now gone up to a bit sunny. So obviously with a sunnier weather but still a bit drizzling there, that might give some drivers a bit of hope, because right now for maybe some slight surprises, because right now we have Martinez against Hinoshi Taiyo. Let's see if he can clear it. Yes, he does. It's very close there.
It's so over.
It's not really over here. As you can see here, Jake Martinez finally clears the lap car of Hinoshi Taiyo. And right now, Miyuki has already cleared Bernardo Santiago. And now this means that Miyuki might just have a realistic shot of winning this race if Castato isn't careful. Meanwhile, Dan Evans and Kento Kai battling out finally.
It only took how many laps, but it is finally happening. The battle we have all waited for. It is side to side at the moment. Neither one of them is willing to let up at this current moment. It's still side by side. Each driver really trying, fighting tooth and nail for that number 5 spot. But it seems that Kai does have a slight advantage, I believe.
Yes, he does.
And that slight advantage really did give him the win, but I believe Evans is trying to go at it again.
Yeah, they're gonna go at it again. This time, Kento Kai has the inside line, but they need to watch out for Keiko Takaboshi in front. And now you can see here, Kento Kai really needs to be mindful of the lap car situation here. And because you can see here, Dan Evans have cleared Kento Kai once again. But basically the battle's not over. It's going to be a 3-way battle for turn 1. Kento Kai had to really back off there to not cause a collision or an accident. Because right now, Kento Kai lost a good amount against Dan Evans. As Evans managed to clear the lap car that is Keiko Takaboshi. Meanwhile, Adachi and Sins battle it out.
Oh wait, hold on, Sims? That is not Goliath. Wait, since when was Sims in 11th place and Garcia finally went into the pits? This is strange.
It's because Sims has been the faster driver. She has been creeping up onto the positions, if you have noticed. And as you can see here, for Goliath himself, he's currently in 9th place, and now Garcia finally gets her one and only pit stop done. And you can see here, Kate Garcia currently up in 13th place. So good stuff from her.
Yeah, and with those fresh tires, they should be able to blitz to at least 10. If I'm not mistaken, assuming Sims doesn't give Garcia trouble. So overall, Garcia looks to be having at least a decent race under her belt.
Okay, just a bit of an intermission, a bit to adjust the current situation here. Just wanted to get a bit of a situations here. Just wanted to see if we could adjust a bit of a rain here, something like that. And right now, it's not much possible, but anyways, back onto the racing scene here. It's the Phillip Island Grand Prix, and Juan Castato still leading. And right now, Hanahori Miyuki, if you've noticed here, she's managed to really close down on the gap here. It was at around 20 seconds, now dropped down to 11 seconds. She's got real race pace here.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Miyuki could actually pull it together and win the whole thing, especially because they don't need any more pit stops or anything, and they got clean air. Their main competitors are 4 seconds away from each other, and 4 seconds away from her, almost 5 seconds. So Miyuki is very comfortable right now.
Currently setting a 1:18.545, maybe around a second or two faster than Juani Castanto. We've seen Kate Garcia already making her pit stop. Looking into Juani Castanto, he will not pit until the next 13 laps. So might want to focus on that as well. While in the mid stages of this race, Castanto is losing. He might have a shot come the end of this race. And right now, if Castanto can still manage to keep his deltas in a positive manner, he might still be in a shot of getting this race win. And speaking of Kobo Kanairu and Hanahori Miyuki, it's still drizzling out there apparently. Although right now the clouds have no longer really covered the skies. We're looking at Miyuki making use of this drizzly rain situation, performing very well here in Phillip Island, and obviously representing the rain shaman herself, Kobo Kanairu. She's doing very well there, currently in 2nd place.
And it will stay there for apparently as long as time itself. As dude, there's no way she's not staying in second, at least for now. But speaking of staying there forever, let's talk about Tulage. Tulage has lost a lot of time from third place. They were originally around like 0.4 of a second, all the way up to 5 seconds, almost 6 seconds. What happened?
Well, well, it could be just a fall off of paces. Meanwhile, Angela Sims continues her climb up into the ranks here. She's now overtaking Lyle for 9th place. As we mentioned there, she's got a very fast car, and sure, the strategy blunders may have affected her quite badly, but she's not going to let that deter herself, as she's now up into 9th place. Meanwhile, looking into the current situation here in this battle here, as you might want to take over for quite a while, as we're gonna be checking on a few bits of situations here. So Z, over to you.
Well, at the moment, we have just about Goliath wants to fight Sims again. Sims is trying to get that pace back. We got Casato still trying to hold it together. They really should pit really soon, because Miyuki is catching up like crazy. What else is there to point out? Takaboshi is dead. Mendez is doing alright. Adachi's doing alright. Yep. We're doing okay. And the host right now is having an argument. Well, you're back, right?
Sorry for the slight interruptions here, as there was an ad hoc call out there, and I had to deal with that. Apologies here. So anyways, looking into the current situation, look at Yui Rafael de Oliveira actually catching up to Takeda Adachi. What are your thoughts?
It has been like that for the last, what, 6, I swear it's been like 6 laps. Yeah, they are catching up. They have fought like I think 3 times. It's like the Balkans. It's permanently at war, and it's the same stuff every single time. It's great. It's awesome. I love it.
Racing action from one end to the other, constant racing action, as you mentioned here. But meanwhile, looking into Hanari Miyuki, while I was gone, the gap was at, well, when I left the mic for a while, I look at the gap between Miyuki and Castanto. It was at 8 seconds. It's now dropped down to 4 seconds. Castanto to the lap 1:26.89. Miyuki is almost 2 seconds faster.
And Martinez actually is finally getting their pace together. 118.573. They might have a chance to actually catch up to Miyuki. So that's a good sign.
And good for Martinez and Miyuki to catch up on the current race leader, Wani Castanto. As Castanto currently inside the race lead at the moment, has been in the lead for quite some time now, having this race under control. And as you can see here, the sun is still slowly setting, but slower than you expect because it's currently summer here in Australia. Meanwhile, Castanto against Miyuki, against Jake Martinez, and as you can see, meanwhile, looking at Yuri Rafael de Oliveira trying to attack Adachi, and you can see here, de Oliveira coming across the main straight. Let's see how it goes.
They're really trying their best, but it's probably going to be no good on this straight at the moment, so they'll probably have to wait until either next straight or for Adachi to mess up somehow.
So, right now, we finally have Juan Castanto pitting. Finally, and now Castanto with the freshest tires out of anyone so far. Let's see how he does in terms of trying to stake a claim for this race win, as Miyuki officially takes the race lead.
That was a crazy fast pit stop. I'm not gonna lie. That it was like, what? Like, maybe a 20-second pit stop. That was really good.
Well, if you don't have much to fuel, then that might explain why, because right now Castanto really didn't have to fuel much. Castanto only 12 seconds behind Hanare Miyuki. The race is on.
It is on at the moment, and with Shalage's pace, Castato, once they get those tires really warmed up and all that, should be guaranteed at least a spot on the podium.
And as you can see here, Castanto obviously crucially ahead of lap cars Hinochi Taiyo and what that should be Dan Evans there, and then later Kento Kai. Castanto might have a very good shot there. We're going to be checking the next lap to see where Castanto ends up. And right now you can see here Shalagi and Garcia and De Oliveira trading balls between each other. De Oliveira has now dropped down to 13th place. Kate Garcia's up into 12th. Obviously Garcia having a fast car relative to everyone else due to the fresher tires. We're going to be paying attention to Castanto and Garcia. The freshest tires out of anyone so far. Let's see how much resistance they can gain.
With Garcia, I think they were 2 passes when they got their tires at the optimal freshness. So it's gonna be, I think they might be a little too burnt out for their tires. Which of course their tires are gonna be better than everyone else, but they're not completely optimal for blitzing.
So anyways, well, that is the case for Kid Garcia, but for Juan Castanto, you can see here there was around 4 seconds, now dropped down to 3.7 seconds there between Castanto and Shilagi. Castanto might just have a shot at a podium position, what was touted to be in 8th place after the pit stops here. Castanto is now going to be in a relatively dangerous position to try to steal away something from Shilagi especially. Shilagi, of course, currently in 3rd place in that number 58 Kyla Kowalski car. Castanto is actually really catching up there. You can see here the gap's really dropping down to around 2.8, 2.7 seconds. We're going to know why. Monica Shilagi is currently being held up by Bernardo Santiago.
It is not a very pretty sight. With Castanto really catching up, as we said earlier, and what's being proven to us right now, 1:18, basically 1:18 for I believe Castanto's lap time. They are basically going to overlap Shilagi in about two laps.
So anyways, it could be earlier than that. Castanto might actually just catch up to Shilagi at the end of this lap if Shilagi isn't able to clear the lap car soon enough. Because right now the gaps have now dropped down to 1.8 seconds. The visibility continuing to drop here in Phillip Island. And now you can see here Castanto really trying to catch up to Shilagi here. But let's see what he can do here as the track darkens. Right now there are currently there's currently no need for lights here. Everyone's still reporting that they could still see quite well. So there are no real cases for red flags just yet. But as you mentioned here, we're already coming into the end of this lap, and now Castanto's right at the rear of Shilagi.
It might be the beginning of the, well, it has been for the past 7 laps for Shilagi, so I guess it's the middle of the end for Shilagi right now. Castanto getting a 1:17.877 lap time, absolutely leaving Shilagi's lap time in the dust, and it won't be long till Castanto tries to make a move, and that time is now apparently it's side by side, but they still had to watch the lap car, but Castanto with some casual maneuvering managed to outbeat Shilagi and steals the 3rd place bronze trophy.
Really having not much of an issue there clearing Shilagi. That's what fresh tires do to you. Castanto with quite unorthodox overcut strategy to try to be as up there in terms of race positions, and then coming into the end he will have the freshest tires possible, and right now he's not going to have any problems dispatching the likes of Bernardo Santiago, who's still outside the points. Rana Castanto coming around the last corner here, and now Castanto now has his eyes on Martinez and Miyuki, and so we're getting into the current situations here. It's still just Martinez and Miyuki. Miyuki, Martinez, and then later Juan Castanto. Meanwhile, Garcia and Adachi also trade balls between each other. We also wanted to track Garcia right now. Garcia's going to try to go for a double overtake against both Adachi and Goliath. Garcia now inside the top 10.
apparently that worked well enough, but Galio does not want any of that. Really tries to counterattack. Garcia might have been too bold, to say the least, but Galio managed to back down at Garcia's night. I am impressed.
She's not going to be the only driver you're going to be impressed with, because looking at Juan Castanto, he's still now catching up to Martinez. Martinez catching up to Miyuki. The gap was around 12 seconds, now dropped down to 10. That just shows you the amount of fresh tires Castanto has. He now has basically himself to basically his race to lose, Castanto, as Castanto's really trying to pile in on Martinez and Miyuki right now.
And you can see that gap getting hammered down on the race timetable at the moment. It went from like 6 seconds to 5.5 right now. It's going down, not even slowly but surely. It's just going down, hammering it.
Oh, and as you can see here, Rafael de Oliveira isn't having the best race at the moment, and in this second half of the Phillip Island Grand Prix, he's lost even more positions here, and now he's under pressure to lose even more, as Rico Mendes is going to try to have a sneaky move down the inside to steal a position away from de Oliveira, and also Adachi and Galal trade blows between each other. Man, they are looking to there's just so many battles right now, and it's still not even in the end of this race. We've already passed halfway. It just shows you how much racing action we've had here in Phillip Island right now.
Truly, and looking at the gaps right now, it's still around 10 seconds, but Castanto is really catching up on Martinez. That clean air is really helping Castanto out right now, as I believe there is no lap traffic for him at the moment.
The sunset, obviously playing host to quite an amazing race here. The sun is still providing a good amount of visibility. Right now, the visibility is still pretty good here in Phillip Island. You can see here, the clouds have really cleared there. It gives a good amount of these drivers a good amount of sight here in this evening side. As you can see here, Castanto, meanwhile, really making use of this opportunity here. You can see here, 2 seconds faster than Jake Martinez that last lap.
I know, and it's only, well, not even getting faster. That would be a lie. But with Castanto being about 2 seconds faster, they are going to be catching up 2-3 laps, and it's just going to be game over for Martinez. God, that is such a cringy line.
It happens.
Anyway, back to you.
Okay, looking into Castanto, currently 2.5 seconds, 2.4 seconds there. Martinez losing touch to Hanari Miyuki. Martinez's chances of a second place finish is going to be under real pressure here. Now you can see here that this is the gap between Jake Martinez and Juan Castanto. And as you can see here, Castanto is just gaining on Martinez like a lot over the last few laps there. 2 seconds faster. That's the difference between basically the lifespan of these tires there. Martinez doesn't have much tires left. Castanto has a lot of tires left. So Castanto have a lot of grip in the corners relative to Jake Martinez. And now the gap's dropped down to just about over a second.
It's over for Martinez right now. It's still a consistent 2-second gap between their overall lap times, and a little bit of stuttering on that on your screen, but it's okay.
Okay, currently a bit of a stuttering, but I don't think there will be much issues here. And as you can see here, Castanto really compounding on Martinez's gap here, closing down on the gap. It could be around the the final sector where Castanto is going to be finally able to catch up to Martinez. We're around 20 laps to go here in this Phillip Island Grand Prix, and obviously the race is still pretty much alive as far as Castanto goes. Miyuki still has a pretty decent gap, but the gap's already dropped down to around 6 seconds for her. Looking into the last lap for Hanari Miyuki, I can't really tell what was her last lap. We're gonna go a bit of an onboard shot here. She's at a 1:19.547. Meanwhile, we have Corey Jimenez sitting at 1:18.302. So Castanto is actually gaining on both of these drivers at once. And now you can see here Castanto he's not gonna try to put this second place issue down to bed right now with probably a very good move down the inside of turn 1. But you can see here Costanto not really gaining there on that main straight now. Even though Martinez is actually trying to pick out the pace, 119.531. He knows it's a bit urgent to defend his second place, so let's see what it leads to.
A desperate defense might be in order at the moment, as Costanto is gaining stupidly close, and it's getting to be the point where it is 0.3 of a second away from an overtake, and I would be terrified if I was just Martinez right now.
And right now Costanto knows he needs to clear Martinez very quickly. Miyuki is currently being relayed over the radio over Costanto's position relative to Martinez. And as you can see here, for Miyuki, it's not even looking good for her either, because the driver in front, once the drivers are in front, Corby Mendes, Wazir, Sean Galile, Takeda Adachi, and Kate Garcia. Kate Garcia hasn't been much back up to speed here. As you can see here, the tires have finally given way. So Garcia is going to lose out on basically basically challenging above the top 10. But meanwhile, Hanori Miki might have another challenge. 119.361 for her. Giovanni Costanto now alongside Jake Martinez. Costanto around the outside. Riley trying to push the issue on Martinez, but Martinez doesn't have the gap. Costanto's now up into second. It's now down to the Argentinian to try to pile on the pressure against Hanari Miyuki, who is only 5 seconds ahead. And look at the lap car situation in front.
It might be, it's starting to develop. It already is a big issue. It's now a bigger issue with the one quote-unquote lifeline Miyuki had completely severed. Costanto has basically clean air against Miyuki, and you can already see the gap forming between Costanto and Martinez as we speak, already got elongating into like a solid second.
Right now, Juan Costanto might just have only one more hurler before he has to deal with Hanari Miyuki, and that's Yuri Rafael de Oliveira hanging on to a single point here right now, although he has a bit of a gap against Bernardo Santiago. Looking into Costanto, he's going to try to clear Yuri Rafael de Oliveira soon enough, because right now Jake Martinez isn't ready to give up his second place just yet. Costanto is going to peel down the inside to finally clear Yuri Rafael, and now you can see here Costanto hanging around the inside with the superior car, the superior grip. Now, this time, it's Costanto versus Miyuki. Game on!
Oh my god, that was so cringe, never say that again. But, to your credit, it is really starting to heat up as we speak. The gap is rapidly closing down, and it just might be over. And speaking of closing down, I guess Mendes and Mazin had a quick little fight, and Mendes won it. So.
And meanwhile, Shilagi and Evans straight blows between each other. Evans around the inside of turn 3 into turn 4 into the middle corner. Now you can see here Bernardo Santiago really giving the opportunity for Dan Shilagi to really edge ahead of Dan Evans, so that should be the battle over for now. But looking to Hanari Miyuki is currently stuck behind lap cars. Costanto is really on the offensive.
You see that gap, you see that gap decreasing. It's alarming to say the least, and you could start to see Miyuki now 1:17.587 is Costanto's time right now, which is a solid like 3 seconds away from Miyuki's time. It's oh my god.
And meanwhile, Miyuki is gonna give herself a bit of a lifeline here. Miyuki is gonna overtake Moazev, but not before Moazev's gonna attack her back. That's not gonna do Miyuki any favors. Look at Moazev is gonna try to cause a lot of headaches for Miyuki, and now the gap's dropped down excessively. It was at 2.5 seconds. It's now dropped down to 1.6.
Well, who would have thought Moazev actually put up a fight? That is crazy. 14th place Moazev causing headaches for number 1 Miyuki, which honestly was pretty unexpected. And speaking of unexpected, what's unexpected is not a fight between Mendes and Goliath. We all expected this, being honest, because they fight all the damn time. So.
Meanwhile, looking at Costanto trying to attack Hanari Miyuki there. Miyuki doesn't have the fresh tires. The gap has completely been obliterated. Costanto is going to use all the time in the world, and with using the powers of Orocroni. Now you can see here Miyuki is going to try for a desperate move down the inside against Aziz Muazif, but will Muazif provide a challenge? And he might just be able to provide just a bit of a challenge. Yes, he does. You can see here Miyuki gets shoveled off outside. And now looking at Costanto getting very close there for a move. And now really it's going to be a battle of who blinks first.
It might be over though. It might be over. It's a guarantee. Well, not necessarily a guarantee. There is a small sliver of hope that will probably end up being crushed over the weight of probably like an 800-pound hammer or something, being honest. But with Costanto advances, well, he's just advancing. It's just over.
It might not be over for Miyuki if she can pile on the pressure on Costanto to make sure he uses too much of his tires. It could be over for Costanto, but not before Costanto might think of a move, but not before Miyuki thinks of a move against Sean Goliath. Sean Goliath gets shuffled down the inside around turn 11 and coming into turn 12. Goliath's going to cause a lot of headaches for Miyuki, and now you can see Costanto has a very good arc there on that final corner here. You can see Costanto is going to clear Sean Goliath. Will he clear Hanari Miyuki? Will he pile down the pressure, jump down the inside of her? The answer is going to be no. Costanto, they both managed to clear the lap card with ease, but now Costanto diving down the inside. The battle for the race lead is now completely on. Costanto is going to take his claim back into the top spot. After all of this battle that we've seen so far, it's not going to go the way of Costanto, but not before Miyuki is not going to fight back.
It's so over. It's just over, man. The lap cars are making Costanto have just a minor inconvenience, but they will probably hit fast too. As soon as Costanto passes one lap car, that lifeline is gonna be hell for Miyuki to pass.
And right now, Costanto has managed to clear Hanari Miyuki, and the lap cars is gonna use Takeda Adachi as a pick, but not before Adachi is gonna cause a bit of issues for Costanto, but Costanto is gonna try to keep himself composed. He knows, as we mentioned, he's got all the time in the world to try to maintain the spot, and besides, we're only at lap 56. We're only at 14 laps to go, coming into 13. It's still not over yet.
No, it's just over. It's over. It's so over.
Okay, you might have a point there. As you can see here, Costanto clears Corey Rico Mendes here. And now what's left is basically Kate Garcia, who has had the same strategy as Costanto, getting very late into this race with an overcut strategy, but just shows you the difference in quality for these drivers. And now you can see here, Costanto making a move down the inside of Kate Garcia, makes no pressure, there's really not much of a difference, and now we can say Juani Costanto now has this race under control.
It's so over. There's just no. Well, I'm not even expecting any more position changing. It's going to be a nice, friendly friend race now for the rest of the 13 laps.
And with that out of the way, let's take a look into the progress charts to see who has been gaining the most. Ignoring Juani Costanto's amazing run, Hanari Miyuki started 10th and has now jumped up into 2nd place after what has been a frantic race here in Phillip Island. Of course, we've seen some other drivers who have had some bigger losses, like Angela Sims started on pole, now dropping down to 9th place. We have Sven Jensen dropping down to 7th place after starting 2nd. We've seen Zeke Wimberly starting around in 9th place, now dropping down to 18th. And of course, we've had the last place driver Takaboshi staying where she is right now.
So we've obviously got some winners and losers right now, and that pit lane situation was just absurd.
And looking into Jake Martinez now, it's now going to be even more of a headache for Hanari Miyuki. And looking into even more battles here at the back, just want to take a look into Goliath and Wazif here. Wazif against Goliath is going to be Wazif's position to gain here, but meanwhile looking into some of the other drivers in the attack. Right now we have Jake Martinez really trying to get close into Hanare Miyuki. Miyuki's pace have just gone, and if she tries to clear a lap car and she's unsuccessful, if Martinez is successful in clearing the lap car, it's going to be Miyuki losing second place.
Yeah, it is starting to. The battle for second place has just begun right now between Miyuki and Martinez, as we basically just said. So it seems that this race still does have some unresolved conflicts, I suppose.
And you can see here the difference in the lap times between these drivers. 1:18.423 still for Castanto. Both Miyuki and Martinez heading 1:21, 3 seconds lower than Castanto. That just shows you how much power Castanto has at the moment. But of course, it's only for one race, and of course, we'll have 8 races left in the Formula Hololive International calendar. And of course, it's still somewhat drizzling, but it's not wet. It may be damp, but it's still not wet. They're still dry. It's still, the track is still somewhat dry. So obviously the drivers are not going to be thinking of making a sudden pit stop for wet tires, as we might see in Formula 1 one time. Anyways, Miyuki against Martinez for the runner-up spot. Miyuki still has the second place under control for now.
For now, anyway, and as long as the lap cars work in their favor, they should be relatively a-okay.
And meanwhile, just looking into Ethan Bertelsen, they're actually catching up to Aquamarine Jensen. Now Bertelsen's gonna try to get close there to the Norwegian driver there. Obviously, Bertelsen having a very fast car at the moment. Obviously having better luck than what he had during the end of the Hololive International Series of the 22-23 season, and having better luck than what he had in the Invitational races too. So looking at Bertelsen currently on the attack right now. Bertelsen currently trying to find a way past Sven Jensen there. As you can see, he's really being the lap car down in 18th place. So let's see which of these drivers is going to use him as a pick.
Well, it's interesting to say the least, to see the lap cars play such a prominent and non-prominent role at the same time, and with about like 10 laps to go, now's your time to strike.
And currently it's about 5 p.m. Australian time, or rather it is actually, 5 p.m. Australian time. It's about 5:40 Australian time, 5:40 p.m. that is. And right now the visibility is slowly being dropped down, but it is still not going to be any issues. But now we're going to be crossing the line. It's still currently 10 laps to go here in this Phillip Island Grand Prix. A lot of twists and turns, but those twists and turns have been in Castantos' favor, who has been leading the most laps out of anyone else in this race. But meanwhile, we're looking at Bertelsen versus Jensen. Jensen almost had his race undone here, or at least had his position undone against Bertelsen, but Jensen still going to try to hang on to 7th place. He still has hope.
It is not over for Jensen, believe it or not. It's just their defense is super wonky. But their offense is great, so kudos to them. They're the last cannon.
So anyways, Jake Martinez obviously still catching up to Hanare Miyuki. Basically, now they're not really being separated by much. You can see here Martinez against Hanare Miyuki there. You see here the gap's only being around 9/10 of a second between these two. So obviously there's still a lot of things left for these two drivers, Miyuki and Martinez. So you can see here Miyuki still being held up by Corey Rico Mendez there, who hasn't had the best race right now. He's currently down in 11th place. But anyways, let's take a look into the lap car situation. So who's currently in the lead lap, who's currently on the lap down. Kid Garcia's of course a lap down after being overtaken by Juan Castanto. And of course we also have basically 10 drivers are currently a lap down.
More than half of the field is basically a lap down. So I guess this is not everyone's ideal race.
well, half the field doesn't have the ideal race at the moment, and meanwhile you can see Miyuki, while she is currently in second place, she still has Jake Martinez to contend with right now, but right now Miyuki is keeping this race under control. As you can see, Korobika actually has some pace, so Miyuki can stretch her legs just a bit, so Martinez might just be able to have a bit of a harder time to get past Miyuki. Of course, we're currently on lap 62. Costanto obviously having this race completely under control. He still has a few lap cars in front, which is basically Ethan Burleson and Jensen right now, and maybe Angela Sims as well, but looking into their battles right now, Bertelsen still trying to attack Jensen, but of course, we'll need to see how it goes.
And it is sure as hell is going at the moment, with Martinez at least slowing down a little bit and giving Miyuki some much needed breathing room, as you said, and Bertelsen is probably going to fight Jensen for like the 7th time this race. I think I'm putting my money on Bertelsen personally.
So right now Bertelsen is on the offensive against Sven Jensen. Sven Jensen doing very well to put that Iris number 86 to a good position there. Just shows you that as long as you have hope, you have Iris, and as long as you have hope, you can be destined for great things right now. And right now Sven Jensen, despite the adversities that he has had so far in this race, he's doing very well to be to limit damage as well as he did. And speaking of current potential battles here, Martinez against Miyuki, that has kind of died out because Miyuki have really opened up the gaps. Now 1 second between both Miyuki and Martinez.
It's not over necessarily yet, though. A second gap can, for the most part, be crushed with very good planning and maneuvering on Martinez's end. But that, again, that requires... With the tires Martinez has, it's going to be really hard to pull it off.
So anyways, Ethan Bertelsen on the attack against Sven Jensen there. Does he have the slipstream to make use of? The answer is going to be somewhat no. As you can see, Bertelsen does get close. He has to think about it if he wants to commit to the move or not. The answer is going to be no. There will not be any move so far for the Danish driver here. Bertelsen trying to get close to Jensen, but obviously these two are still far apart enough that there will not be any overtaking moves. So anyways, coming into the final 5 laps of this race, you got any of your driver today so far?
I'm sleepy, but driver of the day, I gotta say, is actually not Costanto, but I gotta say Sims. It's so crazy how they went from first and then all the way to the back, and then they ended up in the middle. They've been to every single place in the scoreboard. It's so awesome.
Well, we applaud. I can technically see why you chose Sims for your driver of the day vote. But because we've seen Sims, she can be fast when she needs to, but her strategy really needs to be fixed coming into the next few rounds. Well, for me, I have to say it's Juani Costanto. To be up there, to be in the mid-pack, and suddenly just being in it to win it, and making use of that opportunity, that's what we want to see. But speaking of taking up opportunities, let's take a look at Bertelsen on Sven Jensen. Now, it's going to be an unstoppable force versus immovable object, but will that immovable object be movable in the end? Because right now, we're looking at Sven Jensen really losing touch to Bertelsen, but Bertelsen still has the outside line, but I think, yup, the immovable object is movable after all. But at least it's still not too bad for Jensen, as he's still currently inside the top 10.
I still can't believe what happened during this race. I am so impressed someone managed to reach the top 10 after hitting 3 times. Not only, it's not even 2 times when you usually blunder 2. It's like 3 times. Oh my god, it's so...
I mean, yeah, when it happens, it's just crazy when it happens. But anyways, looking into the current situations here, final 5 laps of this Phillip Island Grand Prix has been very eventful. It's been kind of wet, but it still provides us with a good amount of racing action nonetheless. And as you can see, Costanzo having a very comfortable gap. 16 seconds separating between Costanzo and Miyuki. Costanzo having a near flawless race up to this point. And Costanzo really heading himself to be in the record books.
Yep, at least in terms of who won this race. For pole, it was Sims, but it didn't turn out. It wasn't meant to be.
So anyways, Costanzo trying to still barrel it down on the straights. We are currently at 4 laps to go. But meanwhile, we might be seeing some battles that might not be resolved just yet. Right now, but looking into the gaps here, the gaps over each of these drivers have got to be at least 1 second in terms of the intervals, at least when it comes to positions. So let's just basically run out this stream with a bit of a race review. So we've seen some good amount of racing action here. We've seen Sims, who was on pole position, basically being hanging on the race lead before she made a mistake on pit strategy. We've seen Sven Jensen, who was good in qualifying, but then absolutely fell off during the start of the race, and that kind of explains why Jensen is down in 8th place. And we also get to see some strategy masterclasses from, let's say, Costanzo and Miyuki for being able to commit whatever strategy that they have pulled. So obviously each driver has its day, some do not. And obviously it's for Costanzo, Miyuki, it's going to be going their way as well. And looking at Costanzo and Martinez, they're going to be on top of the driver standing, but we'll need to check the count. We're going to check the standings for sure to see if Martinez is able to defend his championship lead. But from what we can tell, with Adachi down in 12th place, he's going to be sure to lose the championship lead, meaning that we're going to have a shakeup in the championship order.
Yeah, it's just... Oh my god, it has been one hell of a race, and I am sleepy, and I am going to nap after this race, and it's going to be great. But overall, this racing has been so enjoyable to watch, and I have laughed, and I have nearly... Well, I'd be lying if I said that. I did not nearly cry, but figuratively I have cried.
Well, anyways, we're coming into the final few stages of this race. We're just at over 2 laps to go. Obviously, Phillip Island has been a venue that has delivered over the past few years in the ARO. We've seen Phillip Island play host to a Hololive GT3 round 6 of the season. Sure, there have been some streaming blunders, but on that stream there were crashes, there were incidents, and there were lots of racing, and Phillip Island just hasn't disappointed. He has yet to disappoint us so far. Currently, we're in this penultimate lap of this race here in the Phillip Island Grand Prix. Now, just wanted to give all a bit of a preview. We're gonna take a pretty big break for Formula Hololive International before we head to Indonesia for both the Mandalika Super Prix and the Indonesia Grand Prix, which will take place at around in January, which should be at January 27th and January 28th. Hopefully everyone is able to basically set their dates for the next 2 races of the Formula Hololive season. It's going to be on both Saturday and Sunday, at least on Indonesia time. So hopefully everyone will be able to tune in.
Yeah, and it will probably be eventful, I think. An ARO race usually is at least somewhat entertaining to watch, so maybe you'll be there, maybe you won't. I won't judge you if you're not.
Oh yeah, we just had the announcement from Hololive. If you're a Hololive Advent member, if you enjoy Sherry Novella, if you enjoyed Biju, Nerissa Ravencroft, and Bofua Moko, they'll be getting their New Year's outfit coming soon, which should be before the end of the year. So if you're a fan of that, enjoy it. And meanwhile, if you're a fan of this race, it's the final lap of this race. Well, let's just admire Costanzo's dominance in this race so far.
They are, to say the least, opportunistic, which is something I can admire. They had ambition. They managed to realize that pitting at lap 5 was something a stupid, dumb idiot would do, and didn't do that, and it won. So, yeah, that was great on Costanzo's part.
So anyways, Costanzo only has a few corners left to deal with. He, as we've mentioned earlier in the stream, he has been nearly flawless all race. Sure, he may have qualified mid-table, but that doesn't matter to him. In a matter of a few seconds, Castanto is gonna etch his name into the history books as one of the few drivers to win for Oroconi and the second driver to win in the Formula Hololive points race, well, international points race. Castanto, one more corner to go for him to say Konnichiwa to the top step of the podium. Castanto, with a dominant race at hand, he's gonna take the checkered flag to win the Phillip Island Grand Prix.
Yay! TM. Oh my god, I'm so sleepy.
So anyways, we only have 6 drivers completing on the lead lap. Bertelsen, Jensen, and Sims has been dropped down to a lap down. Miyuki is going to enjoy her best race in the aero up to this point with a second place finish. Congratulations to her. Jake Martinez rounds out third place. And looking into the rest of the field, we're looking into 2 Australian team cars in 5th and 6th. Another decent result for the 2, even though it didn't win their way. We're looking at more drivers finishing. Bertelsen, Jensen, Sims, Garcia, Mendes, Adachi, Moise, Golad, Olivier, Santiago, and Taya finishing where they are right now. Shalag and Evans cross the line 4th and 5th. Kento Kai is going to cross the line in 6th. A decent race for them.
Very, very decent. For this race, you were either dominating, below average, or suffering. Me personally, I was suffering, as you could see by the statistics, but yeah, it was fun nonetheless.
So anyways, with Hinoshi Tayo crossing the line, that should be it. That should be time for the Phillip Island Grand Prix, and we have seen the results come into us. So let's take a look into the results. Juani Castanto takes the checkered flag for the first time of his career in the Oro Crony number 92. Obviously, it's just showing to everyone that the Crony car has potential. Hanori Miyuki finishes second place in the Kobo Kanairu car for the first time, having her best race of the season up to this point. Jake Martinez finishes third, with Shalage fourth, Evans fifth, Kento Kai sixth. Obviously, the drivers who finish fifth and sixth have Australian ties to them. Ethan Bertelsen seventh, Sven Jensen eighth, Angela Sims ninth, and Kate Garcia rounding up the top 10. And then we also have 11th place, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 that we have seen throughout. So honestly, we're just trying to get this thing responsive, but right now it's not working up to this point. So we're just going to show you the top 10 standings at the moment. So we're gonna update everyone on how the races will, how the championship order will end up, and which we're going to do it now. So hang on, just need to properly close the client here. Okay, so there's a bit of an issue here. The replay isn't saved and all that stuff. So anyways, we're gonna end the stream here. We're gonna update to you all of the championship standings after round 2 soon enough. So with that out of the way, we should be ending the stream right here. Good night if you're in the US, and basically enjoy your evening in Australia if you're in Australia. You've been watching the 2023-24 Formula Hololive International Season Round 2 of the Phillip Island Grand Prix. See you next month for the next 3 rounds in Indonesia.